Click the link in the description for your free AMSOIL catalog. Before we get started, I'd like to give a quick shout out to some of our friends. The Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame. Search for them on Facebook. Central Minnesota Pond Racing. Search for them on Facebook. The historic Lancaster Motel for the ultimate Eastern trail riding adventure. Crane's Snowmobile Museum at 172 Main Street in Lancaster, New Hampshire. The Vintage Snowmobile Club of America Quarterly Magazine. The Bridge Street Garage Racing Team, the house racing team of the Vintage Snowmobile Podcast. The New Hampshire Snowmobile Museum at Bear Brook State Park in Allenstown, New Hampshire. And lastly, if you decide to advertise with the Vintage Snowmobile Podcast, this could be your advertising message. Good evening and welcome to the podcast. I'm really glad you're here. Now, if you can see my face and hear my voice, I'm going to ask you to post a quick comment in the comment section. Let me know that you can hear and see me okay. And also let me know where you're viewing this from and whether you are a first-time viewer or a regular viewer. Now, to our first-time viewers, I thank you so much for checking us out tonight. I hope that you enjoy this, and I hope that you decide to join us here each and every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, on the Vintage Snowmobile Lovers Facebook page. It also simulcasts to 7 other places. So if you're viewing us for one of those places on Facebook or YouTube, just join us here, same place next week at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, to our regular viewers who come here each and every week, I thank you guys so much for doing this. It really means a lot. This is what keeps the podcast going, is just the fact that there are people who show up for this each and every week. And I do my best to try to bring you the best possible entertainment I can do. And it seems to be taking on a life of its own. So this is really wonderful. Let's look at a few comments, and then we're going to get right into the programming. We're going to try something different tonight. Let's see. We've got Richard Brazo from Coleman, Wisconsin, regular viewer. Great to see you, Richard. Thanks for coming on. Alden Banks, regular viewer, says good evening. Good evening back to you. Nick Kafez, regular viewer, loud and clear from Shelby Township, Michigan. Great to see you, Nick. Bruce Halls, regular viewer from Humboldt, Saskatchewan. Appreciate your coming on tonight, Bruce. Darren Gissel from North Dakota. Thank you for coming on. Great to see you. Mark Rothfuss from Rochester, New York. Nice to see you. Mark C.I. from Prince Edward Island, Canada. Great to see you. Our good friend Brian Van Haverbeek. hears us loud and clear from Mount Bridges, Ontario. He's a regular viewer, and he is going to be the guest when we come back from the break after the holidays on January the 6th. He has a collection of kitty cats, and I cannot wait to see them. So we're looking forward to spending some time with Brian after the holidays. Also, our good friend Armand Buteau from Pittsburgh, New Hampshire. He is a RUP guy, hardcore RUP, and it's great to see you, Armand. We've got Pat Lima tuned in again from Southeast Missouri. Thank you for tuning in. Stacy and Art Fosler from Platkill, New York, regular viewers. Just going to take a couple more here before we get into the next video. But I'll continue to pop them on the screen as we're watching the video. Roger Cormier says, hearing us loud and clear. Hello to all vintage snowmobile lovers out there from Manitoba, Canada. Also, comments to leave in the comment section tonight. Who here has some snow on the ground? We had a couple inches here in northeastern Vermont, but it was 55 degrees today, and it rained yesterday and over the night. No snow. I don't even think there's remnants of any snowbanks. So we're not too happy about that. But I have had a chance to do a little yard riding a week or two or so ago when we had a little snow. John Spranger Jr., regular viewer from Elon, Wisconsin. Jerry Jackson says, good evening from Dansville, New York. Very nice to meet you. We'll take one more, and then we're going to get into the programming. Skip Estes, regular viewer from Uxbridge, Massachusetts. Thank you for coming on. Okay, so let's switch screens here. Pardon me. I have a robust lineup of vintage snowmobile entertainment on tap here for you tonight. In a moment, we're going to look at some footage from Rob Hilditch. He was at the Sled A Rama Vintage Snowmobile Show in Peterborough, Ontario, not too long ago, and he sent me some footage. We looked at some of it last week, and I saved some of the footage for this week, and we're going to be looking at that in just a moment. But before we do, I want to bring your attention to item number 2 here on the menu. After that video, we're going to be doing an open line show and tell. And with this show and tell, you can join us live on your cell phone for some vintage show and tell. In fact, let me get into the proper screen here. I'm going to post the link in the comment section. But before you click that link to join us live, there are a few guidelines. I need to go over them with you. Okay, here are the guidelines. You must have something vintage related for some show and tell. We ask you to hold your camera horizontally for a wide shot. It's very when you hold it vertically, it doesn't look right on the program. Number 3, keep it clean, no nudity, profanity, etc. Number 4, it's okay if you're selling something, but it must be vintage related. And number 5, please keep it positive, no bashing of people, businesses, etc. And I have to thank everyone so much that has come on. Everyone that's part of this, whether you're making comments in the comment section, guests I've had on, people who've come on for the open line show and tell, everyone's had a really positive attitude, very positive vibe, and I thank you guys so much for that. It's just a joy to do this because it's just a really positive vibe all around, and I thoroughly appreciate it. So as I said, I've posted that link in the comment section. If you're thinking about joining us live with your cell phone, all you have to do is click that link and follow the instructions. It's very easy. Once you get into the waiting area, hold your phone like this, and there's going to be a little gear icon at the bottom. If you scroll up like this, tap that gear icon, and that'll allow you to switch from this camera to this. Sorry, it's like looking in a mirror, to this camera. So when you have it this way, we're looking at your face, and then you switch it, and now you're using this camera so we can see what it is you're showing us for the show and tell. I hope that made sense. Anyway, so if you do that successfully, it's going to take you into a waiting area, and you'll be able to view the program from there. Just chill until it's your turn. We're going to watch a quick video, and then I'll start bringing people on. But do think about joining us. If you're sitting there in your man cave or your garage or your barn, or if you're outside under some lights and you have family members doing yard riding, we'd love to bring you on live so everyone can enjoy that. So while we're waiting for people to come into the waiting area, let's take a look at item number 1. This is the footage I told you about from Rob Hilditch from the Sled A Rama Vintage Snowmobile Show in Peterborough, Ontario. Let me find that footage here, get it queued up. Let's take a look at that footage right now.
Here we are. We're looking at a snow cruiser, 1969, and it was actually made here in town. Who was it made by?
The snowmobile was made by Outboard Marine in Peterborough, Ontario. It was their first attempt at making a sporty model sled. It was only produced for half a year, and they're not even in the 1969 brochure. And they got them introduced to the market just before Christmas of 68 for the 69 year. And they're nicknamed Snoopy after the face of Snoopy the dog. In French Canada, they called them the Boot.
Oh yeah.
And because of their unique shape. We're finding out stuff about them all the time, and we don't know what production numbers are, but there aren't a lot of them, let's say. I had a collector up in Eganville just a few weeks ago got a hold of me and he said, "Is your Snoopy got a sticker underneath the right side grill?" I said, "Well, I've had the hood off, but I've never really paid attention." Sure enough, he said, "Yeah, there was a sticker there." So I'm going to send you a photograph. I've had it reproduced, but you can't get to it here right now. But it's a can bar. So I called a chap I knew that worked at Outboard Marine and in the offices, and I said, "Ron, does can bar mean anything to you?" He said, "Yeah, it stood for Canadian Barrel." I said, "What are you guys making from Canadian Barrel, eh?" He said, "Well, by the time we were into snowmobiles," he said, they used to do a lot of boat manufacturing. We supplied Evinrude and Johnson Motors for them. He said, "What are you working on?" I told him about Snoopy here. He said, "They made the hoods."
Oh yeah.
So that's kind of a neat story. And then I had another chap that stopped by here today whose dad worked at Outboard Marine for 30-some years. And he said, "Did you ever hear the story about Snoopy being sent down the Mojave Desert?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, my dad worked at Outboard Marine, and he brought it home in pieces. I guess R&D had it or something. And make this disappear, you can have a snowmobile kind of thing, I guess." But anyway, he said they put extensions on here, and they put long skis. And the idea was, I guess, to take them down the Mojave Desert and test it out, evaluate it, fill up the gas, and just let her go. And then they drive out to see where she finally, parks. And they flew her back home. He said, "We've got it, we still run it."
Really?
So it doesn't have the big skis on her anymore, but so yeah, they're unique or funny looking little machine, and we don't know a lot about the history on them, but we're finding out little bits and pieces as we go here.
Is this a Snoopy snowblower made by the same company?
Yeah, Outboard Marine made Pioneer chainsaws.
There's a business card.
Yep, and they made the Lawn Boy engines and the Lawn Boys, and then they were also into snowblowers for a while. And the motor, the old Iron Horse here, is off the Lawn Boy. The wheels, the handlebars are all off Lawn Boy.
Yeah, it looks like a Lawn Boy parts.
It's got little skis. And the one I'm looking for, but I've actually never seen it in person, is 1958, they made a snowboard. It's much like this one, but they called it a snow cruiser. And I'm told they were the same baby blue, but I've never seen one.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, the machine's in nice shape.
But the unique thing about these machines is that in the States, they finally listened to the production workers, and they did produce an Evinrude Bobcat, a Johnson Challenger, and even Sears did a contract out for the Hillary. And they're all sporty models based on the JLO.
Oh, yeah.
And the story I've been told is that the fellas here in town, R&D, were forever trying to get them to do a sporty model sled. Bean counters just wouldn't listen to them. So when they got wind this was coming down the line in the States, they made their own chassis. Everything was all done in-house here at Peterborough. And ironically enough, this was the chassis that would eventually be used from here on in.
Oh.
With the twin headlights.
Yep.
So yeah, we have to be kind of proud about that, because it was our own people here in Ontario that put that together. And some chops actually did race them a little bit back in '69 too.
Yeah.
In the stock race forms, but
I can remember seeing a commercial for them.
Yep.
Bobbing across the snowfield.
Yep.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Well, cool. Thank you so much to Rob Hilditch for that footage that he took at the Sled A Rama show not too long ago. Now we have Darren Gissel waiting in the wings to come on for us, but I want to do a couple of things before we bring him on. Just a few things about this video we just watched. We've got a close-up that Rob sent me of Doug's business card. So if you have questions about that snow cruiser or anything that you just saw there, this is the way to get a hold of him. I'll keep that on the screen here for just a moment. Also, as I was saying, thank you so much to Rob for that footage. We're going to be doing a little more with Rob in the new year. We've got some things we've been talking about. Oh, and looks like Darren went away. So Darren, if you're disconnected for some reason and still want to come on, just give it another try. We'd love to have you on and see what you have for show and tell. And anyone else who is viewing this, if you have something vintage snowmobile related for some show and tell, all you have to do is go into the comment section and click on the link, and you can join us with your cell phone for some show and tell and show us your vintage items, vintage snowmobiles. Okay, here he is. He's coming back on. Let's bring him on here. Darren, how are you doing tonight?
Good. How you doing?
Good. It's very nice to meet you. I appreciate you coming on. You got some miniatures in there? Is that what we're looking at?
Yeah, these are Normat battery operated snowmobiles.
Battery operated, yeah.
I've been collecting them, 25, 30 years.
Wow.
Took me forever to get that Rupp there. That and the Yamaha are the hardest two to find. And I haven't found a Yamaha yet. But
now,
these
Darren,
are the ones.
Can you rotate your camera so it's horizontal?
Like this?
Yeah, perfect. Wonderful. I didn't mean to interrupt you there. Please continue your thought.
Oh, the Rupp there was the hardest one so far to find. That and the Yamaha are the two hard. The Yamaha is the rarest. And then if anybody has one of them they want to sell, I'd sure be interested. But
Yeah.
anyways, yeah, after 25, 30 years of collecting, this is what I've come up with. There's also, I kind of got it crammed into a room here, but there's also, Normat made Winnebago's battery operated and a push. There's got each of those.
That is very cool.
And a few other odds and ends.
Yeah. Oh, some more miniatures on the shelf there. Yeah, on that vanity. I don't know vanity, but on that dresser there.
But yeah, so if anyone else has any of these out there they want to put on there, it'd be fun to see, or if they have any they want to sell, or they also make trailers and pull behind sleds too. I haven't got my hands on any of them yet either, but
those are very cool. I've never seen anything like that. I've seen the die-cast miniatures at a couple of snowmobile shows, but I've never seen the battery-operated ones.
Oh, really?
That is really unique.
I can show you a little bit closer. Take one out and show you one a little bit closer.
Yeah. So being battery operated, if you set that on the floor or something, it'll move along.
Yep. The headlight will light up.
Oh, the headlight will light up.
Yep. Track will spin.
Yeah.
And they had some that were battery operated. This one's battery operated. And then they had some that were not battery operated. You see that one doesn't have a switch. They were just push type. And there was a couple different skidoos. There was the Rupp, Yamaha, Artie Cat, Polaris, and the John Deere's. The red one and the JDX. And then I guess if I got the story right, a different company took them over that was called Subtle, and they made the cycle.
Okay,
yeah. I remember the first time I saw one was probably, I don't know, 45 years ago. In first grade, a kid brought one to show and tell.
Wow.
And I don't know, ever since then, been collecting them, I guess.
Yeah, that is really cool. So these are all things that were made back in the day. These aren't made now.
Right.
So any of them that you find were made back in the day, and I imagine they're quite hard to find.
Yeah. At Polaris was the first, and then the Artie Cat. And I think the Skidoo after that, or the John Deere. I'm not really sure after that, but I know the Polaris was the first.
Yeah.
But
and then did I see some Skidoos on the dresser there?
Yeah, there's two more.
Yeah.
These aren't all together yet, but sometimes when I find one that isn't all there, I'll buy it for parts, and then
Yeah.
I can, put a few more together.
Nice.
A couple more up there.
Oh, Polaris at the top. Yeah. And then a John Deere on the left, I think.
Yep.
That
And
is very cool.
couple boxes. Those are hard to come by too.
Now, those models that you assemble, plastic models, like those
Yeah,
little car
some
models
of
that you
them,
have?
those are the Normats too. Some of them came at that one box says hobby kit. Some of them
Yeah.
came like that where you put them together, and some of them, I think the bottom box was all assembled.
Yeah.
And they came each way like that too.
And then you said it's Normast, Normast. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, Normatt.
Oh, Normat. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was two guys. That was a Norman, and a first name I think was a Norman of one, and the last name of the other was Matt, I think.
Yeah.
And they were built in Minneapolis or St. Paul is where they started it.
Yeah.
So
That is really cool. Now, what part of the country are you in, Darren?
I'm in Lisbon, North Dakota, 70 miles southwest of Fargo.
Yeah. Nice. Nice. Do you get much snow out that way? Are you able to ride sleds if you're so inclined?
We were supposed to get 3 to 6 last night, but we didn't get any.
Oh no.
Just got a lot of wind. We always get wind in North Dakota. We never miss out on that.
Real windy out there.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, cool deal.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Anything else before we wind this down, or?
No, other than if anybody has a Yamaha or one of the pull behind sleds or a trailer, I'd sure be interested.
Yeah, always adding to the collection.
Yeah.
Good deal. Well, yeah, thank you so much for coming on, Darren. I really appreciate it.
You bet, and thank you for your show. It's pretty awesome.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Bet. Take care. Merry Christmas.
You too. Merry Christmas. Well, cool. That was a lot of fun. And we've got a few minutes here, in case anyone else is wanting to do that. I'm just trying to get resituated here with my interface. But if anyone else would like to come on for some show and tell like that, my goal with this podcast is to do a whole lot more with that, because it's nice to share the videos I do and talk up the things I like to talk up, but I want to have this podcast be a situation where this is a mirror that we hold up to the vintage snowmobile hobby, so that we can all see what people are doing in real time, bringing people on live, and also like that footage from Rob that we watched a few minutes ago, people sharing footage from vintage snowmobile events. Rob was able to get a nice interview with that gentleman that had the OMC. And also, I understand too, a lot of people aren't necessarily comfortable talking things up, interviewing people, that sort of thing. It's okay if you just take your cell phone camera, hold it horizontally like this for a wide shot, and just walk around and get some shots. Just kind of walk around and take in the snowmobiles that are there at the vintage event, and share it with me. I'll put some music under it and put some graphics on there with your name on it, saying that the video came from you. And it's something that we can all enjoy. Well, anyway, let's switch screens here. We're going to do some announcements. And if anyone still wants to come on for some show and tell, I'll see you pop up while I'm doing the announcements, and we'll bring you on at the end of the announcements. Now, as far as announcements, we've got the usual stuff. This is the race schedule for the 2022 Central Minnesota Pond Racing season. We've also got the Crane Vintage Snowmobile Show on February the 5th in Lancaster, New Hampshire. That's one of my favorite shows, and we're going to be looking at some footage from the Crane show in 2020. They didn't have it last year because of COVID, but they're going forward with it this year, and it's just a whole lot of fun. It's at the Crane's Snowmobile Museum, so not only do you have the exhibitor sleds that were brought there, which are usually 50 to 100 sleds that people have brought that day, but you can also go inside the museum, and there's another 100 or so sleds in there. And there's a corner of the museum that's devoted to the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame, and you can go in there and take a look at that. It's really something to see, and I hope you'll join us. If you're coming from any distance away, the place to stay is the Lancaster Motel, walking distance from Crane Snowmobile Museum. If you're towing sleds or want to rent sleds and do some trail riding, there's a great opportunity for you to do that as well. Now, we've got a few more things here for the announcements. We've got there's a pardon me. There's a vintage snowmobile rally in Washington, Vermont on Lowry Road, January the 8th. It's just outside of Montpelier, Vermont, near the state capital. That's also a wonderful show. That was canceled last year due to COVID, but they're doing it this year. And that show and the Crane Show are my two favorite shows. I try not to miss those whenever they have them. And I hope that you will join us. Lastly, for the comments or for the announcements, our good friend Bill Stull, who we talked about last week, we had a prayer request for him because he had been struggling with stage 2 COVID pneumonia. I've been in touch with him over the week. He's doing an awful lot better, and we're talking about having him on in January. I think January 13th, we're going to have him on. He's got some RUPs to show us. So what do we have next on the podcast? We're going to look at some footage that I took at the Island Pond, Vermont Vintage Snowmobile Show on March 13th of this year. I was in touch with Max, one of the organizers of that show. I was in touch with him today, and he tells me they're planning to do it this coming March. March 19th is going to be the date. I believe that's a Saturday. That's a really good show. It's a great location. It's put on by the Kingdom Grill, which is just on the other side of the street from there. And it's just a wonderful show. It was the first time they did it last year, and it was a huge success, huge turnout. In fact, instead of me talking about it, why don't we take a look at it? Let's take a look at that footage. There we go. Get some nice RUPs. Can't go wrong with RUPs. Now, with any luck at all, Bill Stull is watching this. He'll appreciate this. He's one of the big RUP guys in the vintage snowmobile space. Yeah, they've got a great turnout for this. For guys putting on the first time putting on a vintage snowmobile show, this is really impressive. And by the way, this show is put on by the nice folks at the Kingdom Grill. That's an excellent restaurant. My girlfriend and I had dinner there last weekend. Had an excellent time, excellent meal. And that yurt, that tent out there, apparently it's got a big banquet table in there and a wood stove, and you can rent that and have a meal in there with kind of a family event or something. Looks like a Blizzard. The colors are a little different, but it looks like a Blizzard to me, like an old 6500. I like those graphics and the paint and the colors and stuff. Something tells me this has been on the track. Hey there, Blaine Kodasek and Joe Staff. Sorry I'm not reading all the comments that are coming on. It's all I can do here to kind of... Here we go. This might be Paul Belfay in that Elite. I know he's got one. And he's here. But I don't know if that's his. It doesn't look like him driving it. But I caught up with Paul Belfay earlier, and he's agreed to talk to us at some point during the show. You've probably seen him on my videos. He's a regular on Vintage Snowmobile Lovers. He's got an impressive collection, and he's always good at talking up his sleds. He's always got really good information about them. These Dolphins are pretty rare, as are these Speedways for that matter. Now, what is this? Quebec. I don't know that I've ever seen one of these. Let's go in for a closer look here. Now we're kind of in the shade here with that engine. I was hoping to get a close-up on that. Maybe if I put my hand over. No. Hey, Rick White. Hey, Robin Richards from Labrador. I bet this thing makes some noise. How's it going? Good.
I think it's gorgeous.
That's amazing, isn't it? Those are rare too. Is that yours, or do you know who owns it?
No. Are you're Mike?
Yeah, Vintage Snowmobile Lovers.
Yes. Okay.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Let me give you a business card.
Yeah.
Cool.
Do Kingdom Grill.
Do you mind if I put you on camera?
No.
In fact, it's a good opportunity to do a shameless plug. Hey, folks, we'll get 96 viewers watching live. Vintage Snowmobile Lovers. This is the owner of the Kingdom Grill. These are the folks putting this on. Yeah.
Good stuff. Good turnout. A lot of cool stuff. Beautiful stuff. I don't know, man. It's a beautiful day.
Yeah.
A little bit of snow. Couldn't ask for better.
Definitely. And especially for a first-time show, this is an incredible turnout, both with the exhibitors and spectators.
We're learning a lot in a big hurry, but hopefully next year it's bigger and better and a little more organized. I don't know, awesome people too, because everybody helps.
Yeah, for sure.
But beautiful day, man.
You want to talk up the restaurant? I know my girlfriend and I had dinner here last weekend, and they told us on the way out that you've got a banquet table in that tent.
Yes, yeah, that's the yurt. People, actually, that's the other owner right there.
Okay, yeah. Nice.
She's more fun to look at than me.
Cool, yeah. We've got 101 viewers right now live.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
The next time you do one of these, be in touch with me. I'll help you promote it on the front end, because I've got the largest community of vintage snowmobile enthusiasts anywhere.
Yep.
Over 50,000 fans.
How are you doing?
Good.
Hey, Jesse, you're live on Facebook.
Oh, how are we doing?
Nice to meet you.
So excited. The sun came out, the snow came down last night, and the wind's dying down a little. This is awesome.
Yeah, an amazing
So
turnout.
awesome. I'm so excited. We were thinking maybe a dozen sleds, maybe a couple dozen, not so much.
Yeah, this is
We're
impressive.
excited.
Definitely.
And next year it'll be even better. We just
Yeah, for sure. Especially second time around, once it's established, people
Yep.
are aware of it.
trial and error, and we're ready to go. This
Definitely.
is awesome.
Now I'm going to get a close-up on your Kingdom Grill.
Oh,
I'm not
yeah,
getting
yeah,
weird
yeah.
or anything. And this is that Kingdom Grill right behind us. You want to talk up the grill and the menu and the banquet
Yep.
table in the
Would
tent?
you mind if I just run some more slips? We're running out of
Not at all. Go ahead.
slips,
Yeah.
and I'll be back.
Sure, I'll be right here. Yeah, so that was a lot of fun. That was a great show. And like we're talking about, that was the first time doing that show. And look at the turnout they had. They had, like she said, they thought maybe 1 or 2 dozen sleds. There were probably 50 sleds or better. And that's just a first time show. That is also very encouraging to me. I've been to some other new shows lately. There was one in Bethlehem, New Hampshire in October. That was very well attended as well. So that tells me that the health of this vintage snowmobile hobby is alive and well and thriving. For first time shows to be well attended like that. And of course, these traditional shows we all go to every year, those are well attended as well. And everyone's having a good time. This is just good times to be interested in the vintage snowmobile hobby. Let's take a couple of comments, and then we're going to do look at some more videos. By the way, I reposted that link. If you'd like to join us live with your cell phone for some show and tell, if you've got something vintage to show us, click the link in the description with your cell phone, and you can join us here live. We've got a few more minutes. If you'd like to do that, I'd like to take 1 or 2 more people, bring them on live if possible. But we've got Dale Ross says looks fantastic from Central New York. We've got Dirk Seams. Hello from Otter Tail Lake, Minnesota. Nice to meet you, Dirk. And then we had someone earlier. Let me see. Pardon me. Matt Schaefer was saying at Rogers City, Michigan, there's going to be a vintage ride and show the first weekend in March. So if you're in that area, do be sure and check that out. So as I said, I just reposted the link to join us live with your cell phone in the description in the comment area. If you've got a cell phone and you're standing there in your man cave and you get some vintage sleds or anything vintage related, some miniatures like Darren just had, like he just showed us, please come on and join us. We'd love to see what you have for some show and tell. What I'm going to do in the meantime, though, is I'm going to play another video while we're hopefully waiting for someone else to come on. And then if you come on and the video is playing, just stay there in the waiting area. And once the video is finished, we'll bring you on live so you can do some show and tell on your cell phone. So looking at number 5 now, Paul Crane's 2020 Vintage Snowmobile Show in Lancaster, New Hampshire. This is one of my very favorite shows. Let's find the footage here. And yes, here it is. Let's take a look. Yeah, Lancaster, New Hampshire, Crane Snowmobile Museum. He does a vintage snowmobile show every year, with the exception of last year, of course, with COVID and everything. But February 5th, if you want to see more of what you just saw there, please come on and join us. We'd love to see you. And I see Josh Leviker is coming on. Let's see if we can bring him onto the stream here. Josh, how you doing?
Can you hear me all right,
Oh, here we
Mike?
go. Here we go. I can hear you now. This is looking good. Let me put you full screen here. Are you holding your camera horizontally?
Yep.
Wonderful. Yeah. Nice to meet you, Josh. I know we spoke earlier today, but yeah, please tell us what we're looking at here.
Yeah, hang on 1 second here, Mike. I'm just trying to turn up the volume here on my end.
By all means, yeah.
How about now?
Yeah, sounding good.
Okay. Anyway, this is what kind of started it. It's a 73 EXT factory racer that came out of Pennsylvania. And that was the gentleman's name on it. And I've spoken to him. He's still with us. He's in his late 70s. And that was the name of the shop that he raced for, the Cat House.
The Cat House, yeah. Nice. And did I see on the top of there Jerry something? I caught the first name, but I didn't catch the last name.
Jerry Widener.
Widener. Okay, yeah.
So this was in a barn. Found it. It does have the LT gray, tunnel put on it.
Yeah.
But bear with me a second.
Sure.
This here, I'm going to put the phone down real quick.
Okay.
We just had, this is the actual motor out of it. This is the 73 340 motor, dual ignition.
Yeah.
That came out of that sled. And what's hard to find on them is the gear reduction.
Okay.
It's been redone. The EXT is actually being restored. It's at the powder coater now. And there's the tag on it to show it's the RX motor.
Yeah.
And, there's the primary for it. And then the secondary, it's polished. And there is actually a 440 EXT motor here as well.
Yeah.
And there's the tag on that one.
Very cool.
So with that, the new seat, the hood and pan. And what's also is there's the parts collection that you kind of come across. This here is an actual 650 EXT that was raced.
Yeah.
You can see the rib tunnels. It's pretty amazing how they would cut the gas tank. You can see the lightning bolt gas tank was cut. And this was welded for a porter style. And also here in this parts bin is hard to find. Here's NOS. Sorry. The NOS mod kit boost port pistons.
Yeah.
There's a boost port that they would run.
Those are the ones you told me about earlier today?
Yep.
Yeah, nice.
And the extra 2B cylinders and heads.
Yeah.
Pretty much with the EXT is when you find one part, you end up gathering other parts.
Sure. That is cool. That is very cool.
That's just a little history on that. That's been about 7 years in the making, and that sled should be done. The full restoration should be done in about a month.
Yeah. Yeah, please keep
not
us
only
in the
that,
loop on
there's
that.
The super mod pipes for the 340 mod kit that go with that. And while I got you, I could show you one sled in the downstairs of the garage there.
Yeah.
if you gotta, this is the garage, and I do have an addiction for sleds, as you can see.
Sure, don't we all?
But this here is one of my favorite ones. This is a
Yeah.
this is my 340 Merc.
Yeah, that's really nice. Was it 75, 76?
It's a 76. They made 1,301 of them.
Yeah.
Factory airbox. The plug caps are hard to find. They were probably taken off. They were thrown out.
Yeah.
The airbox is unique for the 340s because of the length of the snouts.
Yeah.
The 440s were shorter, and being a 1 year made only in 76 for the 340, they made 1,300 of them. They're kind of hard to find, but it was tore apart, reassembled, but what's interesting is someone really put the miles on this.
Oh, 4,200. Yeah.
Yeah. But we take them to the shows and we trail ride them.
Yeah. Nice. Now you're involved in a show in upstate New York. You want to do a shameless plug for that real quick?
What's that?
You're an organizer for a show in upstate New York. Do you feel like doing a shameless plug for that real quick?
Yeah, I mean, with that, I worked with Ed Stab on that. That was the old Boonville show.
Yeah.
And I've been to a show, great guy, great promoter, and we talked. I'm actually our mayor for our village here in Turin, and right behind the fire department is the village park, and it's a good venue, and we had just over 200, I think 214 sleds. Yeah. Registered for the show, probably another 100 on display, 20, 30 vendors. I mean, it was a packed house. I mean, it was a great turnout, and we're going to have it again Labor Day weekend.
Labor Day weekend.
Yep.
And that's Turin, New York, you said?
Yep, Turin, New York. Yep, just north of Boonville, about 10 minutes north of Boonville.
Yeah. Yeah, mark that on your calendar, folks. But please continue. Yeah.
With that, I can quickly show here. I got a cat cutter here, and I won't take up any more of your time because I did send you some videos. But this is an original cat cutter. Found this in a barn in Utica. I'll swing around here.
That's a nice shape.
But that's the original as is.
Wow, even this leopard print.
And kind of hard to see there, but there's the original serial number on it, sticker.
Yeah, nice.
But original seat. I have done nothing with this other than clean it.
That's amazing.
That's as is.
Yeah, that's impressive because most of the time those leopard skin seats are pretty tore up, and that looks a really nice shape.
Yep. Again, you can see it's original just with the little bit of rust on the Arctic Cat snaps, but all in all, she's original. I can't tell you if the windshield's original, but she's very clean.
Yeah, that is really nice, Josh.
But yeah, this is my favorite one. My pride and joy is that twister.
Yeah, I bet that handle's nice.
But yeah, and I won't take any more of your time there, but again, we're having that show Labor Day weekend here in Turin on 2022, and just look for we'll share it, we'll advertise it, and it'll be a good turnout.
Yeah, for sure. As that gets a little closer, if you have a graphic or anything for it, please share it with me. I'd love to help promote that for you from this end.
Yep, and I believe this was a flyer here from this past year.
Yeah, okay.
So co-hosted there between our Snowmobile Club. I'm the vice president of the Turin Fire Hall. What's neat too, I'll show you these pictures, is this is the old Boss Cat when they would race in Boonville, and this is taken on Route 26 right here in the village of Turin.
Yeah.
So that's
cool.
right in the village of Turn as they're heading south to go to the Boonville Speed Races.
That is cool.
So
very cool. Yeah, and
Yeah,
as that
just,
CAT project comes along, please keep us in the loop on that. I'd love to see I'd love to do a big reveal for that here on the podcast when that's ready.
yeah, I'd say about the end of January that should be together. Like I say, the motor's done. Its parts are all back from powder coater, and that's going to be a complete NOS period correct machine. So
wonderful. Yeah, I can't
I'll be
wait
sure to be in
that.
touch with you on that.
Good deal.
So,
well, great.
okay.
Well, yeah, I really appreciate you coming on, Josh. It was great to meet you, and we'll stay in touch behind the scenes as well.
Okay, absolutely. Okay.
All right. Merry Christmas to you.
You too. We'll see you.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Well, cool. That was a lot of fun, and that, like I said, bringing people on live in real time for show and tell like that's just. Is it just me? Is that exciting, or is that exciting? Let me know in the comments if you guys are enjoying that and if you want to see more of that. To me, that's to me just exploiting the whole possibility of this technology we have today with the internet and social media and cell phones, the ability to bring people on like that in real time for some show and tell. To me, that really revs my engine. Are you guys revving? Not revving? Let me know, because I'd like to do a whole lot more of that. And let me know if you guys are feeling that, if you guys want to see more of that as well, because I'd really like to go more in that direction with this podcast for live show and tell. And we do have comments coming in, and we've got a couple more videos too. One more video. Okay, here we go. Rick and Katrina Dumont love the show and tell. Outstanding. Great to hear the good positive feedback on that. Bruce Hulls loves it. And Dale Ross says it's cool. Definitely going to that show. Good deal. Good deal. Oh, and Mark Ferguson says loves the show and tell. Good deal. Well, I'm glad to hear we're all on the same page with that, because I'm really enjoying that, and I would love to do more and more with bringing people on live like that. Oh, yes, and Stacy and Art Fosler says it's very exciting, and he wants to bring his collection on here sometime soon, and we would love to see that. Mark Schaefer says great podcast on vintage snowmobiles. Mark Sperandino, I think he was on last week doing fun. Yeah, he was doing some show and tell last week. Yeah, definitely worth keeping that up. Well, good. I'm glad to hear we're all on the same page with that, because I thoroughly enjoyed that. And I would like to do a whole lot more of that here on the podcast. Now, the last video I'm going to show you tonight, this is a do-over. First podcast episode of the season, I tried to play this video. It's about 14 minutes long. And when I try to play a video that's longer than 5 minutes, it chokes. So I had to break it up into 3 5-minute sections. This is an interview with Paul Crane. He is a legend in the vintage snowmobile space. He was the first American to ride a Ski-Doo snowmobile in the U.S. or Canada. He was also involved in importing Ski-Doos into the U.S., into Lancaster, New Hampshire, and setting up some of those first dealers in the U.S. He also was co-founder of the first snowmobile club in America, set up some of the first snowmobile trails, formal club trails, organized trails in the U.S. He also helped bring racing to New England with the Lancaster Grand Prix. And he's going to be talking about all of this. He also owns the Crane Snowmobile Museum, and he's the co-founder of the Eastern Snowmobile Hall of Fame. So incredibly accomplished guy, and he's been around forever. He's in his 80s now. He was around at the very beginning when he first rode that Ski-Doo snowmobile, first American to ride a Ski-Doo snowmobile in the U.S. or Canada. That was back in 1959. And he's in his 80s and still doing quite well, very alert and in good health. Just a really good guy. Let's meet him now and hear some of those stories of yesteryear.
Yeah, my name is Midge Rosebrook, and we've been talking here about the early days of snowmobile racing and how Lancaster tied into the whole thing. It was the first town in the United States to receive the Bombardier Ski-Doo in 1959. And this next gentleman is the first American in the United States to ride one. And there he is, Mr. Paul Crane, my friend.
Yeah, my name is Paul Crane. I have the Crane Snowmobile Museum, and we have the Hall of Fame, Midge and I, together down at my museum. I worked for Timberland Machines back in 1958 as the first employee, and I was selling logging equipment, which were Bombardier stuff, for Bob Bottoms. And all of a sudden, Bob came out one day. I was the only employee at the time. Came out one day and he says, "We got to go to Valcourt with me." got to look at something they want us to sell, maybe. So we went up to Valcourt in 1958, and it was in the summer or fall. And Armand Bombardier was standing on one side of me. I was sitting on the sled, and Bob Bottoms, my boss, was there, and had the wooden skis. It was a plywood front end, and it had a high back. And we rode, of course, everything back then was gravel. Now everything's asphalt. I didn't even recognize the place when I first went back up. But I rode it down to the, I guess it's called the machine shop, which was down by the river. It was all gravel. What they did is we run on the track, but they put a rod through the skis and had 2 wagon wheels on it, and I drove it down to the shop. And then back in December, somewhere around the 5th or the 6th, we brought in the first serial number, 1960, serial number 22.
22, yeah.
Yeah, and that was the first one in the United States. And of course, Timberland Machines had places in other spots, especially in Ontario and everything. And they had serial number 17, 16, and 14, I believe, up in Canada, about the same time. And what happened was, all of a sudden, we got it down here, and I had it, which I have pictures of it out east of Lancaster, where I live now, on snow. And that was the first time anybody was riding. And then we rode a pile beside the museum, you might as well say, in the fields, with the wooden skis on it. And it was quite a thing, because people would stop up in front of the Catholic Church and, what the devil's that? These guys out on the thing. So then in the JCs, I was a JC because I was young then, and I believe it was 62, we had one of the first races, which was in 1962, which we were JCs. Bobby Clark was one of the guys with me, and so was Larry Connery, and
Mike, maybe?
No. And it was, I can't think who the devil it was. There's 2 or 3 others.
Claude Reed.
Claude came in later. But we had a race there for kids mainly.
Yeah.
And that was the start of the race. And then, of course, in 63, we had the International Grand Prix. And then in 64, we had the true Kilkenny Cup Grand Prix. And, it's quite a history of things on that. But,
and Paul and Bob Bottoms picked the cup up, right?
Right, yeah. We went down to Laconia and picked the Kilkenny Cup up, which is now at the clubhouse of the Lancaster Snowdrifters.
Okay.
Yeah.
Timberland Machines purchased it for the club.
Yeah, Bob Bottoms came up with the money on it.
Yeah.
And it was quite a discussion about it. So Bob and I can't remember who other people were with me, but we decided, I said, a big cup. And they finally did it with the names of the winners underneath it. And it really turned out to be, I think, one of the best racing trophies in the United States and
highly
Canada.
sought after.
And Canada, really.
Nice, yeah.
And then, of course, after all the races, we'd have the motel here, Lancaster Motel. They'd all come back here, and they'd give the trophies out, and, of course, have some beer and whiskey, because there was a bar here.
Nice.
And
everybody would party and have a good time?
I don't remember if they had hors d'oeuvres or not. I know they had good booze.
Yes.
But that's what really happened down here. And then, of course, in 64, there was a bunch of us that started the first snowmobile club, which is the Lancaster Snowdrifters in 64.
Yeah. Do I understand that's the first snowmobile club in America?
It is the first snowmobile club.
That's impressive.
Yeah. Just like the race. We're the first race, the Kilkenny Cup. We beat Eagle River by a week. I think it was.
Wow.
By a week, yeah.
By a week, wow.
Yeah. They jumped ahead a little bit, though, since then.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, here's part 2. For sure.
Yeah, we were, as big a race as Eagle River was back then.
Yeah.
When you have a factory team travel all the way from Minnesota just to race at Lancaster, New Hampshire.
Yeah, you have to be on the map for that.
You were like the big red pin on the way to race map.
And of course, we didn't always have an oval. We used to have a cross-country race,
Yes.
which Bob Eastman really did a job on.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody that was around here.
That was his forte?
I should have brought that in way ahead of time. Then there were some of us that went up Mount Washington. And
they were the first to ascend Mount Washington.
And they, on snow machines, and it was very treacherous because back in 68, somebody let go of their machine and it went over it was a motor ski, went down over 800
Tumbling down.
It was 800 feet in the gully.
Still down in there.
I think it's still there, but I'm not sure.
Wow.
Yeah. And of course, Midge and I got together and started the Hall of Fame, but I've always, you might as well say, since 1961. I had a 1961 Skidoo, and Bill Doolin and I, and Pearlie Whipple had one of the first ones. But Pearlie Whipple and I used to go up into Nash Stream and up Phillipsbrook. It was the first ones. Trappers were up there because Pearlie was a trapper.
Yeah.
And we were trapping beaver, and the pulp piles were 10 to 20 feet high, and we could drive right up
on them?
onto them with a 61 Skidoos. No wooden skis on the ones we had.
Yeah.
But we'd go up there, and he found quite a few places. But one day we met a trapper. Of course, he was on snowshoes the whole time.
Yeah.
And this is 6 miles back in the woods.
Wow.
So he's gone back quite a bit, and he says, "What are you fellas doing?" And he wasn't too pleased, and Pearlie found out Pearlie was looking for beaver.
Were the trappers impressed by the snowmobile, by the snow invention?
Yeah, but we had a lot of fun. We'd done a lot of stupid things. Bill Doolin and I, like going down the Israel River here,
Yeah.
with the ice breaking behind you all the way. I mean, we really had a lot of fun.
That's cool.
And out where I live right now, in 1962, Bucky had the first 62 one, which was Timberlands, and I had a JLO engine on, not a Rotex. And we were out there coming back, and there's a guide rail on one of the poles just before you get to my place. And next thing we knew, Bucky was up about 20 feet in the air, hanging there. The ski got caught.
Oh God!
So we've had a lot of fun. We broke trail over to Berlin, which was the first time, and that's why I a little provoked, because the U.S. Forest Services can't use their land for riding on, but yet it was in their AMC book that the trail is up over Willard Notch.
Yeah.
But they really did away with that real quick.
Yeah.
They really don't want. It's mainly skiers and hikers, AMC members, which
No
is
motorized.
I probably shouldn't be saying that, but it's the truth.
No, I understand.
I can follow up on that
You can tell
for anybody that doesn't know.
You can tell them about the.
All right. The gentleman that just spoke here,
Thanks.
I called him up one day when we wanted to do that DVD about Lancaster and about the Grand Prix and about snowmobiling, and I asked Paul if we could use his museum and have a bunch of guys come in and it'd be filmed and talk about it. And Paul says, absolutely. So here's Paul talking about riding the Skidoo that came down from Timberlands back in 1959. And all the time he's talking about it, and you guys heard what he said about, what he's done with the snowmobile just now. So then I'm looking around in his museum with about 100 vintage sleds that he paid for out of his own pocket, in a 50 by 100 building that he built out of lumber off his land out there in his own sawmill. And I'm thinking, Paul Crane needs to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Well, the first thing you said that, but if it wasn't for Midge, I wouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. But the thing about it is, Midge was sitting at that meeting the whole time mulling it over, and all of a sudden realized, hey, he's the first American to ride on a snow machine, and nobody knew that.
Yeah.
After the meeting, he said, excuse me, what I'm going to say, he said, why the hell didn't you let people know that? I said, I really don't care.
So anyway, one day, I go down, I've got a 1948 Jeep, Willis Jeep, that I ride in the summertime, and I drove down to Paul's museum, and he's got a big shop right next door for his heavy equipment, and he and his son Robbie were walking across the parking lot. I stopped the Jeep and got out, and I says, Paul, I have no idea how I'm going to do it, because I've never done anything like this before, but I said, I'm going to try to put you in the Hall of Fame.
And here's part 3.
Paul says, Mitch, he said that would be kind of nice, but he said, I really don't care one way or another. He says, I know I did it, but I says, no. I says, Paul, I said, if anybody should be in the Hall of Fame, it's Paul Crane.
Yeah.
I spent the next 3 years compiling all kinds of stuff and getting testimonials from half a dozen people about Paul's career in snowmobiling. And I sent them to the first museum out there, was the Snowmobile Hall of Fame in St. Germain, Wisconsin. And they sent an email back and said that, well, Mr. Crane wasn't a racer, and we do mostly snowmobile racers here. You should try the International Snowmobile Hall of Fame in Eagle River. So I did, and I sent some information, and I got a little email back from Mr. Tom Anderson, I think.
That's right. There's one thing that you skipped to is when you were mentioning the Hall of Fame and everything. When Midge did this, the biggest thing was a lot of the people that could verify what I did weren't around. So Midge had a hell of a time finding things.
Yeah.
It was just lucky enough that 2 or 3 of them, like Bert Moran, which was a truck driver for Timberland in 1958 even, verified it. And then Midge called Bombardier and verified more.
Yep.
I just wanted to get that in there because he's the one that did this.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. I emailed Bombardier, actually, and I got a lady by the name of Madeline Hull, and she was a historian for Bombardier. And I asked her, I said, can you tell me where the first Skidoo came down into the United States from the Bombardier factory? She said, Timberland Machines, Lancaster, New Hampshire, on December 4th, 1959. I copied that.
Yeah.
And that's part of the, but I did this later. Now, getting back to the first email to Mr. Anderson, I apparently didn't have enough information. Because he emailed back and he said, gee, he said, that's kind of interesting that Mr. Crane was the first person to ride the Bombardier Skidoo. He said, I'll tell you what we can do. He said, I'll have a plaque made up and I'll set it on a tripod in front of our 1961 Skidoo that we have here in the museum. And I wrote back an email. I said, Mr. Anderson, with all due respect, Paul Crane's not going through the side door at that museum.
Right.
He's going through the front door.
Yeah.
So the next 3 years, I put him through the front door.
Yeah. Nice. And you worked hard to make that happen.
He did. Yeah. And we worked just as hard to get the Racing Hall of Fame for all New England and New York. We really did.
Yeah.
So.
Do you have any thoughts on the early days of putting that together, and from him having the idea to the next steps to get the ball rolling?
Well, of course.
And I sat at my place for probably 2 or 3 months off and on downstairs with my computer compiling stuff that he'd done.
Right.
But you know what?
And
all the stuff that I compiled, it was Ed Stab that went out in my place. I couldn't go out. I was still working for the Ford garage and everything. I really couldn't afford to go out anyway. And so Ed Stab stepped in my place and went out for Paul. And Ed called me and he said, Midge, he said, I was talking with the board members. And he said, they told me that out of all the members that were inducted in 2015, when we inducted Paul, Paul is the only one that got the unanimous vote. And he said, they told me it wasn't because of all the information, because you had less information than some of the other guys did. But you had the right information.
Oh, yeah.
And they said the information that you did send, there was no question
Verifiable.
in anyone's mind that Paul Crane should be in that Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And that's what got the Hall of Fame thing started with us. When we had the Grand Prix and all those old guys showed up. And Paul and I got to thinking, man, these guys aren't getting any younger. They're in their 70s and 80s, Never got recognized. The Easton guys never got recognized. Herb Yancey from New York, and rightly so, is in the Hall of Fame out there. But guys like Bruce Dunham, Bob Fortin, Cal Reynolds, Paul Montang, Bob Martin.
Bruce Dunham and his family one year had 132 trophies.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
Yeah.
132.
He had 67 all by himself.
Yeah, how cool is that? 2 legends sitting right there telling stories of yesteryear. Just really cool. And I have to say, before we shift gears here, the Lancaster Motel was gracious enough to host us when we did those interviews last January. We spent an afternoon there and interviewed a lot of people in the motel, and I've still got a lot of footage from that day. More interviews to share with you about the Lancaster Snowdrifters, when the club was the first Snowmobile Club of America was formed in 1964, and they created those original trails, and you can still ride those trails today. Those are considered the legacy trails. So if you do trail riding and you'd like to combine some trail riding with some history, there's no better place than going to the Lancaster Motel. It's right on Corridor Trail 5, walking distance from Crane Snowmobile Museum. You're right on those legacy trails. And then right behind the motel is the lot where the first Ski-Doos were imported into the U.S. and where the office that set up those first dealerships around the U.S. Just a whole lot of history there in Lancaster. And I'm going to take a comment. Now I've got a couple more things I'd like to do. Bruce Hall says, great to see a legend like Paul. And absolutely, he is nothing less than a legend for sure. Now, we're going to do a quick shout out to our good friends at the Lancaster Motel who were kind enough to host us there. Also, I have to say, the Lancaster Motel, back in the heyday of racing, when they had the Lancaster Grand Prix that they were talking about, had the biggest racing names, biggest names in racing stayed there. Bob Eastman, Gilles Villeneuve, all those big names, they all stayed there at the Lancaster Motel. And you can stay there too if you'd like to do some trail riding and combine that with some history. But let's do a quick shout out to our friends at the Lancaster Motel before we go forward. I'd like to give a quick shout out to our friends at the historic Lancaster Motel in Lancaster, New Hampshire. The Lancaster Motel has been serving snowmobilers since the 60s, and they are the perfect eastern trail riding destination for snowmobilers young and old. The Lancaster Motel is right on Corridor Trail 5 in Lancaster, New Hampshire, with plenty of parking for vehicles, sleds, and trailers. Plus, the Lancaster Motel is within walking distance of Crane's Snowmobile Museum, plus restaurants, shopping, entertainment, and more. Click the link in the description to learn more about the Lancaster Motel. Yeah, Lancaster Motel. If you're wanting to do a snowmobile vacation and combine snowmobile history with it, there's no better place than the Lancaster Motel, where you can combine all of that history with some wonderful trail riding. Now, a few last comments, and I'm going to wind down the program with a little Christmas wish for you. Mark Ferguson says, thanks for that video. That was amazing info. You're very welcome. Glad you enjoyed it. Alden Banks says, another great show. I appreciate that compliment, and I thank you so much for being a part of this and joining us. Now, I'm going to be doing reruns the next 2 weeks, the week of Christmas and New Year's, but I'm committed to have something in this time slot each and every week, 9 p.m. Eastern time, every Thursday night, something vintage snowmobile related for you to enjoy. So do be sure and tune in here if you're able to, with the holidays and everything. I know we're all celebrating and doing things with our families, but if you've got nothing to do on a Thursday night, there will be something here waiting for you. So with that, I'm going to just share some images with you. I'm kind of an image hoarder. I don't even know where I got these images, but these are some of my favorite Christmas vintage snowmobile images. And if you know whose images these are or whatever, please pop their name on the screen so we can give them proper credit. These are just things I've downloaded over the years. Just some of my favorite vintage snowmobile Christmas images. And Rob Hilditch says, have a great Christmas. I appreciate that so much. And back at you. Just a couple more quick vintage snowmobile Christmas themed images as a way to kick off the Christmas season here. Like I said, we won't be going live here next week or the week after with Christmas and New Year's, but we will be having reruns. We'll have something for you to enjoy. So if you're available and want to do some vintage snowmobile viewing, the next 2 Thursday nights, there will be something here for you. It'll just be pre-recorded. I think this might have been an advertisement for Articat back in the day. Nice old cheetah there. And last but not least, this is my very favorite. I don't know who did this, but this is beautiful. This is a painting somebody did. Really, really nice. All right, so I'm going to wind this down because here at the world headquarters for the Vintage Snowmobile Lovers Vintage Snowmobile Podcast, world headquarters, of course, is code for doing this from home. About 10 o'clock, people start coming up to go to bed, and I'm in one of the upstairs bedrooms, and I need to wind this down. But a few last comments. Alden Banks says, Merry Christmas, back at you. I appreciate it very much. John Spranger, happy holidays to you as well. Thank you so much. And Nick Kafez, catch you in 22. Absolutely. All right. Well, with that, we're going to wind this down with they're going to give the final word of the year to our friends at Mad Ramps. But I hope that you all have a absolutely wonderful holiday season with your family and friends. If you don't celebrate Christmas, whatever it is that you're doing, I hope that you have a wonderful time of it. And we will catch you in the new year. Merry Christmas to one and all. And yeah, we'll catch you on the other side. Hello, everyone. This is Rob and Mike. How you doing today, Rob?
I'm doing good. Mike, yourself?
Very well. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. Now, today, we're going to be talking about AMSOIL. And in a few moments, we're going to show you how you can get the deepest discounts, free shipping, and free gifts when you order your AMSOIL products through us. But first, I'm going to ask Rob to give you a quick description of what AMSOIL is and why you should consider using AMSOIL products in your motorized vehicles.
Thanks, Mike. AMSOIL is 100% synthetic oil. Everybody uses AMSOIL for a different reason. Some people like the benefits that AMSOIL is warranted for 25,000 miles or 1 year. The reason we can do that is because AMSOIL doesn't oxidize. It doesn't form the usual carbons, gums, sludges like petroleum oils do. That's why we can keep it in the engines longer. Petroleum oils never do wear out. They oxidize themselves. That's why they have to be changed at 3,000 kilometers. And AMSOIL likes the benefit that you only have to change the oil once a year. That saves some money. Some of the people like the benefit of AMSOIL is it's a slipperier type lube. By having a slipperier type lube, it cuts down friction drag. By less friction and drag, engines run 20 to 50 degrees cooler, better gas mileage. Now, AMSOIL says 25% more protection than the industry requires is in the AMSOIL bottles. My average customer gets about 10% increase in gas mileage. That's a big savings.
Yeah.
And by cutting down friction and drag, for every 10 degrees you cut down the friction and drag, doubles the life of the engine. So by having the engine run cooler, it makes it last longer. Some people like the benefit of the range of the AMSOIL. AMSOIL's flash point is 425 degrees, and it pours at 50 below zero. Wow. If you ever tried petroleum oil when it's 10 below, it turns to honey. And in the summertime, petroleum oil thins out, and once it thins out, that's when it starts breaking down. So AMSOIL is an all-season oil, can give you better gas mileage, longer engine life, less maintenance. It ends up being cheaper over a year's time running AMSOIL than it is petroleum oils.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And AMSOIL is available for pretty much any motorized vehicle, anything from lawn equipment, cars, trucks, boats, ATVs, motorcycles, snowmobiles.
Yep. And a lot of people phone me up and say, well, what's the benefit of our gear lube? Exactly what I told you about the engine oil. It pours in cold weather, it runs cooler, makes the equipment last longer. And they say, well, what's the benefit of the small engine? Same thing. Makes the engine run cooler, last longer, better performance. So it saves on all the applications that AMSOIL has available.
Wonderful, wonderful. So yeah, let's talk now. Hopefully this has convinced people to think about maybe joining us in the AMSOIL experience. Let's talk about some of the discounts and free shipping and how that all happens. I'm going to pop a graphic on the screen. And yeah, by all means, if you want to talk people through how this preferred customer program works.
AMSOIL has a number of different programs. One of our main ones is a catalog customer, where somebody can order directly out of our catalog. If they order out of the catalog, they order $100 worth, AMSOIL will ship it right to their house. But our best program is our preferred customer. For only $10 for 6 months, you become a preferred customer, you save 25% on all the product. You order $100 worth, they're going to give you free shipping. You don't have to order a whole case. You can mix and match. Say you want 4 bottles of small engine, 7 bottles of 5W30, and a couple of gear loops. You can mix and match. You can order 1 bottle at a time if you want. There's no minimums, no maximums. By being a preferred customer, you save over 25% on all the products you're going to buy. AMSOIL sends you extra gifts, a $5 gift certificate on your birthday, $5 when you renew your account and stuff like that. So it's a good way to save on some of the products you want to buy.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, it's an incredible value. And this is the deepest level of discount that anyone can get when ordering AMSOIL. Is that correct?
It is. It is.
Wonderful, wonderful. So let's take people through the step-by-step experience of placing an AMSOIL order. Then that would include signing up for the preferred customer preferred customer program, so they can receive those deepest levels of discount. So let's go to the website. This is what the website's going to look like. These are some screenshots. Once you go to AMSOIL.com, there's a link in the description, or you can just type that into a browser, AMSOIL.com. This is the page you land on. At the upper corner of the page there, you see how I've circled in red. That is the link to click, the Join Now link. That will take you to the Preferred Customer Program page, where you can take advantage of all of these discounts and free shipping and everything that we've just been talking about. This is what that page looks like. In the lower right, you're going to click Join Now. This will pop up. You select the duration you'd like, whether it's 6 months or 12 months, and click Add to Cart. Now, once this pop-up goes away, you'll be back on the main page. And the upper left, you'll see where I've got that red arrow. It says Shop. Now you can start shopping for products, and on your very first order, you're going to get these discounts and the free shipping as long as it's over $100. You'll get all of these benefits right away. So once you click Shop, it's going to take you to the product page. There's different types of oils, lubricants, so on and so forth. For the benefit of this exercise we're doing now, I'm just going to click motor oil. It shows different types of motor oil. Let's click gasoline. Now this takes us to an item. It's their synthetic motor oil, and you can see the item there, and there's choices for different viscosities. But take a look at the price. Let's take a closer look. Let's zoom in. But if you've joined the preferred customer program first, you're going to automatically get the deepest levels of discount. That's what we're looking at here. You're saving $3.80 on that quart of oil. Instead of paying $16.29, you're now paying $12.49 for that quart of oil. That is the deepest level of discount you can possibly get. And then you just add the quantity that you'd like. You select any other items that you're thinking about, add them to the cart. And once you click add to cart for the final time, you're going to see this come up at the top of the screen. It's going to show your items and your the total that you're at so far. Pardon me. And then you just click view cart in the upper right, and that'll take you to your cart. Take a close look here at the upper right. That blue box shows that you're getting free shipping. You're eligible for free shipping on this order because it's over $100. That little yellow box shows that you've got the preferred customer membership on your order that gives you the deepest levels of discounts for the next 6 to 12 months. And then below that, you've got the items that have been selected. For the exercise here, I selected 9 quarts of the signature series, but that brings us up over $100 for the free shipping. We're saving $34.20. And if you're ready to finish, you click checkout now, and that takes you to this screen here. If you haven't signed up with an AMSOIL account at this point, just click in the lower right to create an account, create a new account. It's going to ask you for some basic information, name and those types of things. Now let's take a closer look. You'll see this gray shaded box. This is a very important box. This is going to ask you if someone has referred you to AMSOIL. And if so, please enter my name. My name is Mike Lapierre. It's spelled right there on the screen for the correct spelling. And also the referral number, 304-555-94. That's how you make sure that Rob and I get credit for this. Now, in the interest of full disclosure, I have signed up for AMSOIL under Rob. So when you order using this referral number, Rob and I both benefit. So if you enjoy these podcasts that we're doing, this is a wonderful way to support the podcast, because when you order using this referral number, Rob and I both benefit. And the commissions I make go directly toward offsetting the cost of doing these podcasts. So I thank you in advance for that, for using my referral number. I very much appreciate it. And once you've done that, you just go into the next screen to enter your payment information, and you're done. Now, once you've placed your order that's over $100, and that order includes your AMSOIL preferred customer program, you are now eligible to get a free DVD from myself. Now, this is going to be either a muscle car DVD or a vintage snowmobile DVD. Use the email address on the screen, wkspodcasts@gmail.com. Send me an email. Let me know which DVD you would like me to send you, the muscle car or the vintage snowmobile DVD, and I'll get that right out to you. As you're typing in that email, in the subject line, be sure and type in capital letters free DVD requests, so it stands out as I'm checking my email, and we'll get that right out to you. So I guess the last thing, Rob, that we wanted to talk about is if someone is considering AMSOIL as a business opportunity.
Yes. If anybody has a retail or a commercial account and they would like to buy directly from AMSOIL, just send Mike a line. He'll show you how to set up, and you can buy directly from AMSOIL. But if you are interested in starting your own part-time business, a part-time business that can grow into a full-time income, Mike and I will show you the AMSOIL marketing plan. AMSOIL has a large selection of products that cover almost every application. So it doesn't matter if you're into snowmobile, boating, or ATVing, or hot rods, we have an oil for every application. It's a fun type business that's I really enjoy doing. Where else can I go and have fun and make money doing it? And Mike and I are here to help you all the way along. If you need any help on how to promote or to find new accounts, we're here to help you.
For sure. So when you sign up under that number, this 304-555-94, you're getting Rob and I as a team. Now, Rob has been doing AMSOIL for 40 years. Can you believe that? 40 years. So he knows every aspect of this business, and he knows all of the ins and outs of the products. So he'll be able to help you with any kind of product questions or any kind of questions to show you the different business models that you can do with AMSOIL. And then the other thing that you get when you sign up under me is I've got a strong background in social media. So if you need some coaching on how to generate AMSOIL leads using Facebook and YouTube, I'm happy to coach you with that when you sign up under Rob and I. You get both of us as a team to help you, to coach you, to support you, whatever you need to get you off and running with this business and having fun with it. Like Rob said, it's an enormous amount of fun. If you're like Rob and I and you enjoy going to any kind of boat shows, car shows, motorcycle shows, snowmobile shows, anything with a motor, you like going to those shows, those events, those races, this is a great way to turn that into a income opportunity for you.
Yes. And just by wearing my AMSOIL hat at one of these events, people come up and ask me about AMSOIL. People don't know where to buy it, and I'm there to help them, show them where they can buy the products.
Perfect. Well, cool. Well, this is great. Any final thoughts, Rob, before we wrap it up?
AMSOIL's a fun business. AMSOIL's been around since 1968. You know, it was the first synthetic oil to be AI approved.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And that's very early in the game too, isn't it?
Yes.
For sure. Well, good. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for viewing. Hopefully, we've gotten you excited as we are about the AMSOIL products. We'd love it if you could join us either as someone who uses the AMSOIL products or to join the AMSOIL team as a business opportunity. And we thank you so much for viewing. Have a great day.
You have a good day.
It's the ultimate combination of simplicity and ingenuity. The newest way to load, unload, and transport your ATV or UTV. The MadRamp's Pivoting Ramp System. Made in the USA and engineered for strength and durability. Maneuver through tight places and over rugged terrain with plenty of ground clearance. No licensing, no ongoing maintenance costs, and no storage hassles like trailers. Won't slip or move like conventional ramps. Free up more cargo space in the bed of your truck. Securely connects to your truck's receiver hitch. Easily extends for safe loading and unloading. Seamlessly retracts for highway and off-road travel. DOT approved in all 50 states and Canada. Quickly disconnects in under a minute. A unique space-saving storage system. The MadRamp's Pivoting Ramp System. Go farther. Go faster. Go safer.
When you order using the link in the description, I'll send you 3 free Vintage Snowmobile DVDs. When you order using the link in the description, I'll send you 3 free Vintage Snowmobile DVDs.